Hey English 345 students, welcome to week 8 of our course and welcome back from spring break. I know it's always a little bit tough to come back after a whole nice long week of vacation, but we're about to attack our second half of the semester and I'm looking forward to all the different topics that are coming up in modules 5, 6, 7 and forward. Alright, so like always, it's a great idea to go to course information, download our course calendar, and take a look at what is coming up and where we've been because we've had a whole week off, so it's kind of easy to forget what's been going on. All right, so right before spring break, let's scroll down here a little bit. Okay, you worked on assignments 4.1 through 4.3, so remember it was the introduction to syntax. You worked on the first set of tree diagrams, you looked at phrase structure a little bit, so you kind of got familiar with the basic concepts of syntax and how important phrases and the order of those phrases and the hierarchy of those phrases, how important they are to building meaningful sentences. And you can see that even if you have a nonsense sentence, like you learned about at the end of Module 3 in morphology. If you have a sentence made out of a bunch of words you've never seen before, even if the function words are in the right place, you'll understand where the phrases are and how they relate to each other and how that creates a sentence that makes sense, at least grammatically, even if the words are nonsense words. Okay, so make sure you check the feedback for assignments 4.1 and 4.3. I gave you lots of feedback, detailed feedback on the questions for 4.1, the ones that required a short answer. 4.2 was an auto-graded quiz, and then 4.3 I looked at all of your tree diagrams, and if I saw any mistakes in there, I gave you feedback on that. But overall, I really did not see many mistakes. I was really proud of the work you did. You did really, really well, both the handwritten versions of the trees and the electronic versions. Some people chose one, some chose the other one, but you all did really, really well, and I'm very, very happy to see that. Moving into week 8, you're going to be working on just 2 assignments this week, so wrapping up this module on syntax. So let's go ahead and take a look at our Module 4 folder. All right, let's scroll ourselves down here, back into the syntax module. Okay, so this week, you're going to be first doing a little bit more syntax tree practice, and I've given you 5 sentences to work with here. So in assignment 4.3, you learned some basic tree diagrams. You watched the video. That video is still linked there in assignment 4.3 if you need to go back and review it. But you'll be creating diagrams for somewhat longer sentences with more phrases. Before you attempt those tree diagrams, I recommend studying some similar example sentences uploaded in 4.4a. So if you go into 4.4a, you're going to see a whole bunch of examples in here. There's 7 of them. So look and notice the structure of these sentences and maybe some other parts of these tree diagrams that you haven't seen before, like conj period means conjunction. So if you see the word and connecting phrases, or maybe connecting compound sentences where you have a sentence and a sentence joined together to make one bigger sentence, that's good to notice that because some of the sentences you're going to diagram this week will have similar structures. Okay, you also see some more sentences here with complementizer phrases. So Rufus complained that Tabitha cheated on the math test. Okay, Rufus is our subject, complained is the main verb, but that is going to embed another sentence into that big sentence. Tabitha cheated on the math test. So subject, Tabitha, verb cheated on the math test is the prepositional phrase. It's the object of that verb. So we always see that SVO, subject, verb, object, word order in English. Okay, so here you see another complementizer sentence. Example 4 is another one of those. It's just a little bit simpler. Okay, as we keep on going, here you're going to see a compound sentence. The crazy man jumps off the bridge. That's one sentence. The conjunction and joins the other sentence. The cat plays the oboe, and it comes together to form one big giganto sentence. All right. Example 6 does something very similar. It joins two sentences together to form a compound sentence. And finally, we have this one that does something similar too, but I wanted to point out this example because the verb in this second sentence over here has an auxiliary and a main verb, will be. So it's important to mark both of those. And you'll see one of the sentences you're going to work on this week has a similar structure to that. All right, so back over to 4.4. So just like you did with 4.3, I'll ask you to either draw or do electronic versions of these trees. The choice is completely yours once again. So as I let you know here, don't worry if these seem a little bit challenging. They shouldn't be. I think once you see the examples in 4.4a, and you did so well with 4.3, you'll receive 4 points for your good effort. So as long as you make a good effort on these trees, you will do fine on this as a homework assignment. The goal is to practice, get feedback, and understand it better. Okay, so once you've got your trees, you'll just click on the 4.4 link and you'll upload them there, either as separate photos or separate image files, or on pieces of paper like some of you did. You all did it perfectly in 4.3. All right, 4.5 will move away from the technical parts of syntax. And in fact, this is kind of the transition from the very technical first half of the semester, phonetics, morphology, syntax, that laid the foundation for everything else we're going to be moving on to. So think of 4.5 as sort of like a transitional assignment. And it's a TED Talk, and TED Talks are always fun. Okay, so in this unit on syntax and sentence formation, you learned about how words are combined to form sentences in our mental grammar. So this exercise will ask you to go beyond the concrete representation of those sentences in English. So you'll watch this TED Talk, How Languages Shape the Way We Think, or How Language Shapes the Way We Think, by cognitive scientist Lera Boroditsky, where she explores the sounds, structures, and vocabularies of different languages and how those differences shape our thinking. So take notes while watching the talk, and then you'll answer these questions, and then click on the 4.5 link, which is a journal link, to enter your answers. Okay, so you'll take a look at those sentences there, and you'll kind of come to some conclusions about how language shapes the way we think. I think it's a really great TED Talk. Okay, so those are your 2 assignments for this week, and I just left you with 2 because sometimes syntax can be a challenging topic for a lot of students, and I want you to spend time on it and do it well. Take your time, feel confident about it, and then you move on to a different assignment with 4.5 where you're going to be watching and thinking and responding. Okay, so that's everything for syntax this week. Anything that you need help with, any questions that you have, I'm always just a visit away in virtual office hours or by email, and I'm glad to help you either way. So I wish you a great week, and I'll see you next week for semantics and pragmatics.